I was like trying.
Okay, so today
Okay.
is July 21st, 2023, and I'm talking with Suzanne Ash. We're going to have a conversation. This is special because I know that she went to this or that you went to this conference recently, and I know you told me you were going, and then you were talking about why you were going, and so that's why I wanted to have this, because I could tell from your post and you texting me everything that it was really good. So let's talk about this. So first of all, how long have you been in real estate?
I've been in real estate since April of 2012, and I had the opportunity to intern for about 8 months before while I was taking my classes, and then took my exams. So I had about 8 months of internship prior to becoming one. So when I started, sorry, there's a little bug in my, there really is a bug. Um, uh, so when I passed my exam, my broker wanted me to be ready to do real estate. And so she had a mentor there. I had a trainer. I had everything I needed to just go. And I sold 14 homes, I think, by the end of my first year and a half or so.
Okay.
And that was in Russian River area. So I had a great time.
All right. And if people don't know where Russian River, it's Northern California. So
Northern California, Sonoma County, wine country. That's where I am.
Hour from San Francisco, right?
Hour north. Yeah. Mhm. Hour and
Okay.
a half, hour and a half now, traffic.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I was there many years ago. It's gorgeous.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
let's dive right in, because let's talk about this conference that you just got back from, Build23.
Mhm.
And it was in San Antonio, right?
Yeah, San Antonio, Texas. Woohoo.
And I couldn't go to the one this year. I've gone to the last 2 years, but you texted me and said you were going, and then you texted me and said what?
I don't remember exactly what I said, but I was like, oh my gosh, this is not an EXP corporate event. This is an employee event. What am I going to? Some big marketing thing? And I thought, oh, I've heard all this before. I don't want to go to anything that's not real. But I had a moment. I sent that to you and you go, it'll be fine. There was something about you saying it'll be fine that made me also remember that when I said, I will go to that I had an intuitive moment at that time when Doug said it and you said it while we were on that one call. You should just go, Suzanne, that I had a knowing I should go. Like I knew it. And then all of a sudden I was doubting it. So I had to go back to that feeling of knowing it and go, you're supposed to go. I don't know what the heck you're going to or what we're doing, but I believe it's about rev share and you need to go to that. I think it's time. I think you're ready to dive in and get going on that. And,
Well,
and I had already had a moment where I said, I am 100% into my real estate business at this point. I don't want another job. I don't want to be spending 8 hours at another job that gives me quote money. I want to do this job. I want to do it 8 hours a day minimum to make my money. And I know I will if I will do that.
right.
So I'd already dedicated out. So going to the conference was kind of part of, let's get some coaching. Let's get some remembering. Let's get forward.
What was it that, I think I know, but what was it that made you know about it and want to go?
I actually didn't know anything about it. You guys just told me in that one call and said you should go to Build. I didn't even know what it was, except that it was related to rev share, I thought, and building my business rev share wise.
Okay, because I was thinking maybe you saw it on the State of the Union meeting that Glenn Sanford did, and he was talking about it.
I didn't make that. Oh, wait, did I?
It was online. It was a.
No, I did see some of that. I believe I did see some of that. Yes, I did.
Because that kind of happened right after that, and I thought, oh, you heard him talking about promoting it, because he was there and all the executive leaders were there, leadership was there. So then you were like, okay, and obviously I'm going to go. And then I know you either shared to me personally or on our group page about meeting people when you walked in and on the elevator and all of that. So I could tell you were getting into it at that point.
I met Brent on my very first elevator ride up. I called him Dave Gagnon because I don't, they all, you know, I just see their faces online. I don't know who I'm meeting really.
Sure. Right.
And so I was embarrassed when I met him again, but he was very kind, of course. He's is he like 6'7", 6'7" or something? He seems so tall to me. But so I got to meet his wife and somebody else. So yeah, I just kept meeting people. I met Cortland. He did something special for the presenters and speakers before they all started. But he and I both missed our plane, not missed our planes, but our planes were both late and our luggage was gone. And he got in about 1 a.m. like I did. And so we were meeting at the registration desk at 1 a.m. He's like, hey, and I'm all, hey. But it was
So,
fun. I did
so,
meet a lot of people from everywhere. Yeah.
so what was your biggest takeaway from the whole thing?
Um, that I need to be all in every day, that my disciplines will lead the way to the income that I want. Um, and the goals that I have for myself. And that there are a lot of different ways to do this. And there are some newer ways to do this that are producing a lot of, or people are getting a lot of productivity from a lot of these things. It gave us the day one, did give us some very practical sort of hit lists to do when I got home, and including like, here's a list of specific videos. And the two different, Mike Sherrard and Krista Mayshore, have a little different gig on that, but they're really very similar. And ways to do those videos and where to put them and how to make them and how long to make them. So that was a really specific list. And so I started using Chat GPT and immediately and started creating my content for those videos. But also, I started reading the book that was recommended on the website, at Brent's website, which was, I forgot what it's called. Oh, Radical Prospecting. No, Fanatical Prospecting by, can't think of his name right now. Jeb Brown, something like that.
Fanatical prospecting.
Fanatical Prospecting. Anyways, so I started reading that 24 hours before I went. So I think I almost finished with that, but I'm about 3/4 of the way full. But I'd gotten about 3/4 of the way full before the end of the second day. And then he came on the first speaker of the third day.
The
was-
book was the speaker.
I think his name is Jeb Blount.
Okay.
Blount. And so he was great on that third day too. Great. There's a lot of really great emotional tugs throughout the program. I think every single male speaker cried at some point. I was very surprised to hear the spiritual aspect of everyone's disciplines. And so there was a lot of pretty Christian process going on, which was fine. But it was very, very much that way. So I kind of thought I'd walked into a spiritual business program.
Right.
So that was interesting. I found out when I got on the first plane out to Phoenix when we were leaving, that there actually were other gay and lesbians there, but I would have never known that. I did feel like the only one there. So that was interesting. And I didn't see any speakers that were actually fit the gay and lesbian at all. At least they didn't announce that in any way. So I didn't feel particularly represented, but I felt like, there were several female presenters. So that was really great. Veronica was great. Krista Mayshore, great. It was fun to see Elena Cordone, just because it's Elena Cordone. And I was looking forward to seeing her because I hadn't seen her in person before. And Grant Cardone, he wasn't there, but he does the 10X Health. That's one of his bazillion-dollar businesses. And so that was fun to do that genetic testing. I'm looking forward to getting there. I've already taken the test, so I'm waiting for the genetic testing, find out all that neat stuff.
Are you talking about Viome?
Huh?
Are you talking about the Viome program?
It's called 10X Health.
Oh, 10X Health. Okay, so that's different. But when you said genetic testing and everything, so I thought you were talking about the supplement, the gut supplement through Biome, but this is something similar.
It sounds like it might be, yeah. He does myth. Oh, I can't remember. Methylating. Oh, methylating supplements. I think it's the correct sentence. I'm not positive exactly. Still learning there. I think that I need to have everything on my calendar. I need to set up time. So that's what I'm working out right now, is what really is my golden time, my diamond time, my platinum time. I don't take any calls during this time while I'm doing this. Like, I do video during this time. I put a note on my door that says buzz off, in a very kind way. This is when I make phone calls. This is when I call my past clients. This is the day that I call my prospects. This is the day that I call prospects every day, don't get me wrong. But if they're new leads, especially, they're going to get called as immediately as I possibly can. I did also decide to buy leads while I'm filling up my pipeline with these other tasks that Krista and Mike and Veronica and everybody has really suggested that I get involved in. And since they really do flow together well, and I have a hit list, I know which one to do first. I know which one to do second. And that's really been nice. But it's the everyday piece. It's the making the phone calls. It's not worrying about anything that might have previously been a negative impact on me. Like, it's a failed call. There's no such thing as a failed call. You made the call, period.
Right.
You made the call, and that's your energy going forward. Your energy, you're planting a seed, you're planting a seed, you're planting a seed. You don't have to worry about it. Don't worry about it. You'll water it later. Just get your seeds out there, go. And so I think that was a huge one for me, was to remember there just aren't any problems in this. There just isn't any failure in this. There just go, do, try. And they showed us their beginning videos, and they're like, yeah, this is my professional first video. And they were hilarious.
Right.
They were great. And they're like, don't worry about it being perfect. That's your enemy. You know, perfection is your enemy.
Well, before we go on, I want to touch on what you said about being represented, because Brent invited me to speak at Cabo. I guess it was 22.
Right on.
So I was there, and I also acknowledged and thanked Craig from the stage. So it's we're smaller representation, a smaller percentage of the population, right? So it's kind of is, but there's some others that I know that speak at EXP Con to show representation that weren't at Build, so we just got to get more of us.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I literally, one of my goals is that I'm going to do everything they told me to do. And I've kept really good notes, and I've reviewed them every day almost to make sure I'm in my list, because I can't do it any other way. That I want to be able to write Brent a note and tell him, Brent, I want 10 minutes. I want to tell you, I want to show you what happened in the last year, because I did what all these speakers told me to do. That's what I want to be able to do for Build next year.
And that is so powerful, because there are so, most people, that's why when I go to a conference like that, I'm constantly taking notes, and or if I'm watching a call like this, I'm just writing down notes, because I know that it's scientifically proven that if you write it down, it will, get there better and stay. And then you're right, you can go back and review, because you sit there, and something like that, and you're going, oh, wow, that's great. Yeah. And then I know that I've asked people before, okay, tell me what you thought about today. And it's like 2 sentences. I'm thinking, we were in there for an hour. And it's not, we just don't retain everything. We're agreeing with it or impressed with it, but we don't retain unless we go back and keep seeing it and reading it and reviewing it. And so what I'm saying is, the point I'm trying to make is that of the thousands of people that were there, whatever number that was, most of them sadly will not go back and be better in 12 months. And it's just a small few. It's a numbers game, 20% or whatever will succeed. And Brent would love to have a success story. Everybody would love to have a success story that someone actually did it. And you can too, to the other people.
Yeah, I think that's what Krista says over and over and over. And you can too. If they did it, you can do it. You can do it. Yeah, I think that's a huge piece of all of us is we go to these conferences, we get pumped up. It's really fabulous. I was pumped up before I went. So all it did was just, get me way more excited. But because I now had a list of things to do, I had a specific, I need a task list. I'm one of those people. I need a coach and I need accountability and I need a list. But I think that folks believe that emotion will carry them forward through bad things that happen or things that seem like failures, or I screwed up, I missed my call today, I forgot to do my gratitude list, I didn't have my quiet time, whatever it is they didn't do, I missed my client call, or those 10 calls I just made were so unproductive, I didn't get any appointments out of them. They expect the conference emotion to keep them through that, and that is not true. What keeps me through the conference is not the emotion of it, but the knowing I get to tell my dad, here's what I got this year, Pop, we're good. And going through the notes reminds me of what was important. And then I rewrit, because now I've got this in my head, right? I'm sorry, I'm pointing to my notebook, but I've got that in my head, but every day it gets rewritten, because every day it turns a little differently. And now it's a new thought than it was 2 weeks ago.
Right.
And that is what's the growth and the wisdom and the experiential wisdom, and just keep going and keep making the calls. And yeah, I made my first calls before I left the conference. Wow. Because I'm like, you need to make the calls now. You're walking from here to there. I walked like 30,000 steps. That conference was so huge. I walked 30,000 steps in 3 days. My room was the exact opposite side of where everything was, which is great. I got my walking in, even though I was sitting for 8 hours.
Which is interesting, because you're right. It is great because it, forces you to get the exercise in. Not that you wouldn't, but the average person would say, oh, I want the room right by the elevator so I can get right down, whatever. But that way you can still be building in those steps. I mean, everything's on purpose, right? And
you meet people in the elevator, you meet people along the hallway, you say hi, they're like, oh, you're with EXP because you got your badge on. The chances to be social were amazing. And I just chatted up whoever was sitting next to me, and that was so fun. And we're all on each other's Instagrams now. I'm on a bunch of the speakers' Instagrams now. We're chatting away, and I met about I would say I met 50% of the speakers and actually sat down and talked with them for a minute.
Oh wow, good.
And that was really fun. That was because having had this so physical of a change in my body and my mind has made it so easy and so clear that I can just go talk to people now. That self-confidence moved up. There's no barrier. There's also no emotional barrier. Without that food, sugar, flour in my body, like I intuitively can just talk to you now. And that is the weirdest, coolest result of losing 108 pounds, right? It's just, there's nothing in between you and me anymore.
108.
108, yeah, 108 pounds.
How long?
And it fluctuates, every week. I'm on a very maintenance kind of diet. If I have a lot of activity, I'll lose weight. So I have to eat, I have to eat really a lot of food technically to make sure I don't lose more weight, because I'm plenty thin enough at this point.
And 108, what time span did that take?
I really, let's see, January of 22, by end of October of 22, all the weight was gone. And my high, I had started that at about 248 pounds. My high weight was 268. I just wasn't at that weight when I started. So it's really whatever that math is, but
that's amazing. So that obviously is discipline and choices. What
That's
else?
everyday disciplines. That's what really prompted me to go to Build and to believe that I could actually make my real estate practice different, that I could make a real change in how I do what I do, that those disciplines and practicing those disciplines, because I had really started in 2020, September of 2020, the food plan, and
Mhm.
had my best friend passed away, and then my stepson passed away 40 days later. So I kind of got off the food plan because I didn't really know that the real fellowship and support that was there. And I came back in January knowing it was all there. I just needed to go forward and do that no matter what. And but I had gained back 49 pounds in that period of time. And so come January 22nd, January of 22, I was ready. I surrender. I'm done. Let's go. And that means, for me, every day I get up at 5:15. Every day I have 30 minutes of quiet time as soon as I get up. I frankly kneel and pray, not because my God needs it, but because I need to do it. And that happens morning and night. I have certain readings that I do every day. I make at least 3 phone calls every day just to support that. And I have a coaching call every single morning at 6:30 a.m. So and I shop twice a week and I cook 2 to 3 times a week. Most of my meals are all done and ready to go. Um, I don't, I like cauliflower freshly cooked. So I prefer it not be 2 days old, but yeah, you learn how to cook and you learn how to keep food and make sure it stays fresh. But once you get into that rhythm, well, once I learned that I could actually follow a discipline was the point of why I'm talking about it, is what then gave me the impetus to want to do my actual business instead of going and getting a full-time job and then doing real estate on the side. I really enjoy doing real estate. It fits my personality. It fits everything about me, except for the discipline part. I was not accessing the self-discipline without the absolute accountability. And so I'm working in accountability. I've got 2 more coaches, one for marketing and one for my business now. And so I've got a food health one. And the next one I need is a coach for exercise because I can't seem to do that on my own either. But I'm one of those people. I like having the accountability. I think I'm a social bug. I am synergized by it. I also, need my alone quiet time. But
Sure.
that discipline that I saw I could do with the food and the weight and the physical wellness, my A1C, which is the diabetic glucose score, was 13.4 in 22. And I am now a 5.4, 5.6. I'm sorry, the last test. I don't have to test for diabetes anymore. I cured my diabetes and it's fantastical. So all that health and feeling good and energy and the fact that I could actually follow a plan and do it has given me the confidence to go to Build. When we talk about why did I go to Build? Well, I knew I could do it now. I still need coaching. I still need help. I still need accountability because now I know that's what I need. I don't need to try to do things without that anymore.
You know what? I hope this, I hope you understand what I'm saying when I say this, because I want it to be the right way. I think it's extremely hard to lose 108 pounds because that is not just daily, that's hourly
Right.
being disciplined,
Yeah.
especially when you work from home and you're right there with it and everything. It's not like and especially when you have a lot of downtime in between things or can have downtime. It's not like being at a job where you're on your feet, working the whole day or whatever. So anyway, I'm just saying to lose 108 pounds, I almost feel like saying, if you can do that, you could do anything.
I agree. No, that is my absolute, I don't know how to say that, but I know I can do anything I want to do now
Yeah.
because my kitchen is technically in the middle of my little home. I have to walk through it to do anything. It's how I come out of my little office into the living room, into the kitchen is right there in the center part of how everything connects. And I am, I eat only 3 meals a day. I have weighed and measure food. I don't eat sugar or flour in any form. And I would have told you that was insane, and I would never, ever, ever, that's ridiculous. I'm never going to do that. Who would do that? But when when your doctor tells you she's going to start giving you a 3rd shot in your stomach, that you're going to have to administer it yourself, of course, which is what I had to do. And you're going to get a 3rd pill that you have to take. And she's afraid you're about to die, and your feet are starting to go numb, and your hands are starting to go numb, and your eyesight's starting to go. And you're going to be 60 soon, 60 years old, and you weigh 248 pounds, and it's not getting any better. And you're bagging bags of food that's absolute crap. You have good food in the fridge, but it's just rotting. I have all the food I need in there. I know how to eat. I've read all the books, but I'm just eating bags of, brownies and cookies. And well, I'll get candy because that's actually better calories than the muffins. Oh, wait, look, the muffins are this, and that's better than, oh my God, the mental oh my God, the gymnastics that I was doing. But there was never a time I sat at that desk and didn't have something in my mouth or in my hand to eat. There just never was. It was constant, because I didn't have whatever that is. I didn't have the skills to get over the self-esteem of not having a discipline, to not have, it's a swirling black hole. So
what made it click? I mean, was it the doctor telling you all those things, or what made you, you say putting something in your hand? I mean, now is it water? You keep water and you just drink a lot of water, or,
well, I have my decaf, but I drink water before I drink my decaf so that I don't just drink decaf. I actually try to really go hours without doing anything unless it is water, just to make sure I have all my water a day.
Okay.
But yeah, I just try not to fix with anything at all. I just go to a higher power and ask for whatever peace I need and inspiration I need, whatever guidance I need. And that seems to actually do it for me. Or I make a phone call, and I use that more social interaction too, because I live alone and I work from my home, and it gets quiet. My dog is annoying at times. She doesn't talk back the way I want her to.
So people use that as a distraction
Yeah.
from the food or drink or whatever to
Yeah.
call.
Yeah, and I take her for walks. I mean, we go for walks, and we do, 2.5 miles walks every other day or so. She's an older dog, so just flat old walks for her. But I like to hike, and I love to play golf and do other things.
Well, before we started the recording and we started talking, I want to hit on this. Talk about your discovery of purpose and intention.
Oh, we haven't been recording all this time?
We have been, yes, but we
Oh.
weren't recording when you and I were talking about that. And I said, let's start this
Oh.
recording. So let's talk about how you discovered people saying purpose, but where you took that.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
yeah, no, we're recording.
Okay.
Now I want to talk about it. Yeah.
So purpose being the component about the intention, is that what you mean?
Yeah, how everybody's saying purpose and your why, and you don't really know what your purpose is or your why, but then you changed it to, and you thought, okay, intention is different.
So yeah, there was a speaker that was talking, and every one of the speakers talked about your purpose, your goal, your why. I've heard it many, many times. I've never really understood why. Why do you do real estate? I'm like, I like it. It's challenging, it's fun, it's whatever, but I never really got why that was important. But it didn't click for me. But then a speaker suggested, he talked about it being, what's your intention? And at that moment, I think that was day one, I had a vision of my dad and me driving onto a property and saying, hey, Dad, everything you can see, that's all mine. And that's my spouse, and those are my grandkids, and those are all mine. you don't have to worry about me anymore. And it was a gift I was giving to my dad. It wasn't an offer. It wasn't a commodity. It wasn't anything but a gift to give my dad, that knowing that I was safe and fine and healthy and happy and doing well. And there's something about that intention that has changed kind of everything about even how I do my note taking. Like, is this, or planning my day, is this taking me to that intention? Is this a profitable conversation? Is this the time I need to be spending? I have watched so little TV since I came home from this conference. It tells me I really am changing my mindset so I can change and have that focus, enlarge and enhance my life in the ways I want it to be enhanced. And it's really fun to know that what I focus on expands. What my mental status is where my atmosphere is going to be. And people keep telling me, my God, you're so inspiring. And I'm like, really? That just seems so weird. I'm like, I feel inspired, but I didn't know it was going to inspire you. But it's been to feel like I can do anything and everything I want to do, because I've developed these disciplines in my life, and then I can apply that discipline nature to my business and have accountability and coaching in that as well, because I have a lot of coaching with the health piece. Knowing that coaching and accountability really helps me has helped me start moving forward in my business. Having a coach for my marketing, having a coach for my actual business practices. And every single speaker at that conference also said, here's some books for you to read. And I started reading the books. Krista has a book. I have it here somewhere. Sell 100 homes in, I don't know, a year or something. Where is it? That's so weird. Oh, it's underneath my notebook. She has this book. She gave it away. She put it on every other seat. It was so nice. There's that one. Can you see that?
Oh, yeah. And that's the one she wrote?
Yeah, that's the one she wrote. Yeah. And I've been on a couple of things since the conference with her, and I got to meet her there, and she really is just this genuine spitfire of a woman who, tried a thing and it went and it did it for her. And but she does it intelligently. She does it with focus. She has methods that really help her figure out where those clients are and what they're thinking and what they need. And she's willing to give that away, which, we go to a lot of these conferences and it's really just about selling their coaching program. Right. And so these people on day one really gave us a lot of, actionable items we could actually action on. So, and some free stuff we could go to after. So that was really cool.
Good. Well, I'm glad you said that about intention, because, we always hear, okay, what's your why, and what is your purpose? And, so your intention is your father,
Yeah.
I think that's great. And seems so simple in some ways, but you hadn't thought of it until then,
Yeah, a lot of the speakers shared about, I got to buy my mom a house. I just wanted to buy my mom a house, or something like that. My parents don't need anything. They just don't, except to know that I'm safe and well and healthy, and they couldn't be prouder that I've, kept this weight off and got rid of it. And they're just astounded. And they're like calling me, telling me things like, okay, Susie, I quit salt. I'm like, we've been telling you to stop doing that for like 40 years already, but he's like, I quit salt. But I'm like, right on, Dad. And my mom's, I don't remember what she told me recently. My A1C score is great, Suzanne. Like they're all of a sudden talking to me about things, like suddenly I'm some expert about something. But when people are disciplined about what they're doing, it makes you can do it too. It just does. Like, if Suzanne can do it, anyone can do it, anyone at all, because, oh man, all I ever did was eat. So I don't know how I ever did a ton of business, but I I can take my business to a new level now because of that. Not because of the eating, although that does help because I'm clear of mind and body and soul and energetic,
Yeah.
but because the disciplines are in place to actually make sure I'm doing everything to fill my pipeline the way it should be filled, not with crud and ick and stupid things, but with actual actionable kinds of items and to-do lists and phone calls, productive phone calls, and how to prioritize those calls. So it just makes it all possible, so much more possible.
Well, I love that. And then I want to see people succeed, you
Right.
know, and I think, well, if I can do it, you can do it, you know, and then, but then there's things that other people are doing that I need to do that maybe I don't think I can, you know, and but the truth is, if somebody's done it, you know, it's kind of like, you know, you've heard in years past with going to seminars like Olympic, you know, runners and races, how no one had done so many minutes on whatever that is, and then someone came along, and then now that's nothing, and you know, it's just that's so good though that you said that, because and I think that people, you know, success. I learned recently, my coach said the definition of success is whatever it is to you. You know,
Right.
it may be to sell, you know, one house a month or 100 houses a year, like Chris's book or whatever. It's your definition of success. You
Right.
know, and I think
And really defining that for yourself. It's really important to not waver off of it, because once you set the goal, you can't really think about it anymore, except to bring it up if you're feeling disappointed or dislodged or dysregulated in some way. You bring it up just to have it there. Otherwise, you're on task every day. You're not dreaming. You're just doing the tasks, you know, the activities that get you to that goal, to that purpose, that intention, that desire. It's really important that I read it this morning was the steamboat was carrying a book when it arrived that was all about how a steam engine could not make a boat go. And I was like, that right there, that's exactly what we're doing every day. And real estate is something new and different. And we have to be able to move with it and groove with it and try something new. And I guess that was the piece for me, was I was putting myself all in, you know, all of my life into all of my life, period. I'm not into half my life. I want to die, go to heaven and meet the person I was supposed to be, because that's who I became. I want to become that person. And they talked a lot about, you know, taking your real estate to the next level. Next level doesn't necessarily mean 400 homes a year. I don't want to work that much. I'm not sure I want to have that many people in my life, but I want to work enough to have certain things in my life and enjoy my life. Absolutely. But they talked a lot about just taking everything to that next level. What is the next level you need to do to get to where you want to go? And can you articulate that? And can you then give it to your coach and let it go and let your coach get you there, help get you there? And I'm like, yeah, I can actually listen to a coach and actually follow direction now. And I can actually say, okay, there you go. That's what I'm going to do today.
Well, you can definitely follow direction, that's for sure, your own direction. So what is the next level for you in your business?
Next level for me right now is at least 10 phone calls a day that are going out, whether they're cold or whether they're past clients, and creating video scripts right now every single day for a new topic, and getting to know every neighborhood in my town. I'm going to start just with my little town that I'm in. But I've bought leads in several areas around my area. And so it's going to be doing niche. Did you say niche or niche? It's niche, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. My family's from East Texas. What do we know? Niche videos so that I can talk about each town and have video walkarounds from each town. So I'm programmed into my day now. This is when I make calls. This is when I go out into videos. This is when I interview business owners, so that I'm the only one anyone ever sees video wise in my town. The main guy for my little town retired essentially. And I'm taking over it all. I want it all.
You're gonna own that town.
I'm gonna own this, I'm gonna own this town and all the way out to the coast. I've decided.
Where's what's your Instagram handle?
Suzanne.ash.exp Realty. And I don't have them up yet. So I'm
Oh,
just
okay.
I'm creating the content now. My videographer and I missed each other today. I double booked our appointment with her appointment. I thought hers was at 10. Anyways, so we're going to meet next Friday, but by then I hope to have several recorded so she can make them kind of look like Krista's. I'm just going to make them look like Krista's as much as I can, which are pretty casual videos. They're not like, super spectacular or anything. And then apparently I create websites that go with those topics. So should be interesting to really dig into the hows of all this. Right now I'm creating the video content knowing that I'll get to where I put them.
Good. And please let me know when that's up and running so I can post that to the comments on this video that we'll put on the Magnetic Wealth Experts YouTube channel. I've given you some things to think about that I wanted to ask you. So one is usually the presentations are recorded. Is there anyone particularly that, if they are, that you would suggest that other people watch other people?
They were all recorded. So I have like downloaded them all so I can rewatch them when I want.
What's your top 3?
I think my top 3 is Krista Mayshore and Mike Sherrard.
Okay.
I think Lars Hedenborg and Jeb Blount also were really awesome as far as having specifics to actionable items, as well as Randy Bird. But Krista and Mike Sherrard really just nailed my hit list for me that I needed, because I needed some basic hit lists for moving to the next level for me, which is, I guess the next level is really becoming active in my marketing, is becoming a #1 marketer in my area.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, I'm gonna check those out, and I'll post in the comments on here where those are. I think they're probably on Brett's website.
I don't know. I know I can get them because I went to Build, but I don't know if I haven't seen if everyone can get them or not. They probably are.
That he usually posts them after a certain time period, because I know the speech that I did, and I'll send it to you because
Oh, that'd be great.
you'd like to see it. Is on his brentgove.com under his resources or videos or whatever. Well, that's great. I mean, another thing I would ask was, could you relate to the presenters? Could you see yourself in them while they were talking, or did you feel like, no, that's not me? Maybe I should ask that before you had the mindset in the past, and then compared to the mindset now after you've lost the 108 pounds. Could you see yourself in them, or did they seem like?
You wouldn't believe how many of them told us that they had lost a bunch of weight, that they were obese. I was really surprised at how many of them said, "Oh yeah, I was totally obese," and you don't know exactly when they lost their weight, but it had something to do with them moving forward in their business. So that was pretty fascinating. I couldn't believe that. I was like, wow, look at that. And but I definitely could see myself in all the negative sentences they had told themselves at one time or another. I was like, yep, check, said all those things. I've said all those things. Heck, I've said 2 of those things while I've been sitting here. So yeah, I think it's a pretty generic, pervasive mind that we have in most, I probably commission sales, of failure and negative input, and we're socialized to negative input instead of really positive, keeping ourselves forward without becoming a type pressure, personality types. But I can totally relate to all those pieces, but also having made these changes these last 2 years in my mind and body and spirit, I could see all the positive mindsets that I now have that were that before, that are this now, that meant I could actually, if those showed up, I could overcome them pretty quickly. If those older ones showed up, I could overcome them pretty quickly. And I can move on to the new one, not just overcome them, but I have a new one to put in its place, which for my world, everything is a start behavior. It's just what I know as an ex-social worker and a behaviorist, is that we do everything in start behaviors. We don't do stop doing that. We say, start doing this. And so everything about what I do now is start doing this, start making those phone calls. So when we get off this, I have phone calls to do because I've scheduled it in,
Right.
and I'll make them. And I'm finishing up a script for one of my new ones, but I need some data. So I'm getting that data, and I'm trying to schedule it. I'm still working on that. That's going to take me a minute to really figure out the best time of day for me to do certain things.
Mhm.
Because I'm still kind of learning about my energy level all day.
Yeah.
It's a lot of practice. You spend 36 years over 100 pounds overweight, and then you're not anymore. It takes a minute to get used to who you are now. It's very different.
Yeah.
But so I haven't quite made it yet to the exact schedule, but I've got it down. I start work at 8 a.m. I try to do emails and different things first thing, and move on to other things that are a little more task oriented. Although they did say multiple times, don't do email first, do phone calls first, then email later. So I'm going to do what they say. I just haven't switched over yet because it hasn't become my habit yet. But I tell myself, hey, don't look at that yet. We're going to this first. Set your
Well,
fun list. I can do that. That's where I've made it to. I've made it to, what's your fun list for the day? Get out of your email.
and I laugh because so many people will say, oh, I don't agree with that. I won't do that. And I'm the kind of person, I'm like, okay, if enough people are saying that,
Exactly.
there's something to that. And I'm not where I want to be, where that person is or whatever. So
Mhm.
I should tweak the way I think about that and just do it, and don't do my emails first, because boy, you can certainly get buried down in
Oh,
that.
so fast, so fast. And it's leading 150 emails, and it's, oh, I should probably, I haven't responded. You can get so in that. And if you don't change anything, nothing changes. It just, nothing changes. And I have to follow the direction. And so many of these people I still have this gnat that's making me crazy. Uh, I still haven't killed it. Have had lives that were phenomenally challenging, and events that were phenomenally challenging. And I've had a, eventful, challenging life. I've come from a huge amount of trauma. So really, I am one of those people who needs the discipline and the coaching and the accountability, because that emotional trauma can take me places. Not that I'm reliving something. I don't mean like PTSD level stuff. I just mean it's something about the emotional gravity that it can pull me into a place. There it is. Got it. Um, maybe. I think it got attracted to the light. And so all of those people could also speak to that too. So that was fascinating. And how they discipline themselves through it. I think Krista, she had a why. She had a kid. She wanted to get her kid, keep her kid and make sure they divorced and had a kid, and had to make everything work. And so her business was fantastical. And then, the repos died, and suddenly we were in a good market, and she had to redevelop her business completely. And so it just, knowing how many times these speakers redeveloped their business was really great. Listening to a 28-year-old who had developed their business and they're doing fabulous, I hate them. But people who are my age or a little bit younger, who have, their business was doing great, and then it died, and then it was doing great, and you're like, and they just keep redeveloping themselves. I'm like, that's me. I just keep redeveloping my life. And I'll turn 60 this year in October. And I'm looking forward to, having the body I wanted to have, and being comfortable in my own skin at my own 60th birthday party, which I'm inviting y'all to, by the way.
When is it?
October 21st is when I'm having the party in Rohnert Park, California. Everybody can come.
October 21st. What's your actual birthday?
October 22nd.
Okay.
Yeah, there won't be any booze or food there, just so you know.
Water.
You're gonna come up and they're gonna be like, there's no booze here. No, there's no booze, no food. There'll be a good band, a good DJ though.
I can tell you that 60 is great and 61 is even better because I just hit 61. But I want to ask you real quick before we end, because I want to keep this to an hour. You know, when you are losing that weight, you're working on that, you can't reward yourself for 108 pounds right away. So and the same thing is like for making the 5 or 10 calls a day or whatever. Do you reward yourself, you know, daily for at least doing the task, getting in the habit? Do you kind of, you know, how do you stay motivated? Or how did you stay motivated?
Well, it wasn't about being motivated. It wasn't about experiencing an emotional anything. It was about the goal of sanity around food.
Okay.
And so being sane and being what we call abstinent every day, that was a reward in and of itself. So there's no like chips or, you know, there's no big woohoo, you're great. It's the everyday serenity is the actual goal for the food plan, right? So that kind of has to be my goal for real estate, is an income level that makes sense, that, you know, it clearly is about financial gain. But if I get to help somebody, like I'm in this deal where the buyer's agent just kind of failed to represent their client and I'm the listing agent, and the deal was falling apart. And I'm like, how about if we switch to my lender and let me see if my lender can't help you out. She actually speaks Spanish for your client. Maybe we're missing something so he can actually, you know, do this loan. But, and then their family member called me because they didn't understand what was happening. So I explained what was happening. But I felt like I got to help somebody today. So my job isn't just to sell homes. My job is, can I give to someone today some kind of help, some kind of benefit of my purpose in life?
Yeah.
And I had to reframe my mindset from to contributing to my clients. In some way, I'm actually not just helping, but contributing to their life.
Right.
And so now it's education, giving, service, which I always thought I was being of service, but within my job category. When I changed it to contribute, I don't know why it changed things.
Coming from contribution.
Yeah, I can actually give them something that's good. And, you know, and I have to step off the fence for that to go.
So I guess so for you, it would be, you don't need the rah-rah or the prize or reward at the end of the day. For you, it's more the satisfaction and inner peace that you've contributed and helped somebody, or, yeah, and that's helped you. That's kind
of, I think so. I mean, yeah, I want the paycheck. Don't get me wrong. I'm always going to want that. But like my mom said, who's a realtor too, she finally did decide to retire at 84. Don't cash any checks until they actually clear, you know. Don't count on any checks till they clear. So there isn't much of a celebration. It's okay, good, that's done. Now what? Because it's a pipeline that has to be kept full, or you just sink in December. You sink December, January, February, and you're not paying all your bills and you're borrowing money or whatever I've had to do in all these years. I don't want to ever have to do that again, ever. I want it always to happen every time. And what I'm hearing from all these people who are doing 100 deals minimum a year is they keep their pipeline going all the time. You know, they're constantly filling that pipeline with phone calls, with deals, with people they have to reconnect with, making sure their clients remember them, making sure their clients refer people to them. putting out new information, keeping the market updated, keeping their neighborhood updated about the market and what's going on exactly.
Yeah,
So
you said
it's
it,
a lot.
keeping it all the time, because in all the agents that I've managed and coached through the years and everything, they would get going, and then as soon as they got successful, they would stop doing what got them to that point, because like, oh, now I'm just, working my business or whatever. And as soon as the market changed, then nothing was there, because it
Right.
was what had gotten them to that point, they didn't consistently keep doing. And back to what your mother said, I remember when I first started, I remember at a office meeting, this agent pitching a $5 million listing, and this was in 2003. So yeah, 2003. And no, sorry, it was like 1999. That's when I got my license. So now that would be 50 million or whatever. But he was pitching that listing, and afterwards I went up to meet him and get to know him, and I said, $5 million listing, I can't wait till I have one day. And he goes, Chuck, I would rather have 10 $500,000 listings or escrows rather than one 5 million. And I was like, why? And I was brand new. And he said, because if the 5 million cancels and falls out, I don't have anything. If one of the 10 falls out, I got 9 others, and you just keep going, and that's so true. You've got to have enough stuff in the pipeline, just consistently going, a well-oiled machine that just, keep on. But sadly, I can see many in our field, don't. They get, I know one, I remember coaching and getting the marketing going and everything, and then this person got a couple sales and then took off and went on an international trip for 2 months. And I was like, what are you doing? And
I could easily be that person. I've been that person. I've done that. I've done that. I've taken my money and gone, okay, let's go play.
yeah,
And I definitely, that's not going to be this year. That's not this year is all about work. I've done my 2 little camping trip vacations to sort of, and I'm like, I'm done. That's it. I don't go camping again till probably this time, maybe next year.
you want to get back into the swing of things. So, well,
Mhm.
listen, I really appreciate you taking this time. This has been very inspiring, and I think a lot of people are going to relate to this in many different ways, not just sales, but the weight, obviously, the discipline, the challenge. It's like I said, it's not just daily, it's hourly, I think. And I'm trying to lose a little weight. So if you've done 108, I can do 15 or 20, right?
And I can tell you the one thing I think that is the thought that people need to understand is, if you're telling your body and your mind you want to lose weight, and you've told it you have a way of losing weight, and literally saying, okay, I'm going to lose weight using this method.
Right.
And you tell your mind that, when you step off that method, you've told your mind, I don't really want to do that. So your body's not going to lose the weight, because it all functions together. It's a weird little mental twist thing, but people don't really think about, I've actually sabotaged myself on a mental, emotional level already, as soon as I decide I'm not actually going to follow that plan. And so you won't lose the weight because it doesn't believe you want to. But when you convince it and you do the same things every day for 2 weeks, and you do it for 30 days, it will melt off your body like it never existed. It will just melt off your body so fast. Any diet you decide to do, if it's a healthy diet, it's going to melt off your body, especially if it's a 3 meal a day, real food, no sugar, no flour diet.
Right. That's really interesting, because that's like, I've read and they say that, the subconscious mind can't distinguish between what is right and what is not. The brain can, but the subconscious can't. And so just change the video in your mind that's playing.
Yeah.
Want it to believe, because that is, so true. And wow. Well, this has been great. Thank you so much. Let's do a follow-up like in 6 months to see where you are.
Absolutely.
I'll hold you accountable on these calls you're going to make, and see where you are with all these videos. And
absolutely,
once you get your handle and everything set up, let me know, and I'll put it, we'll comment on this video so people can check it out.
Absolutely, will do. Thanks, Chuck, so much. And thanks for encouraging me to go to Build. It was awesome.
Absolutely. I
All
look
right.
forward to see you in the next one. Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.